if J. Edgar Hoover condemns something in terms of great severity, then it must be very good indeed. To be attacked by the chief cop of America is a magnificent tribute. May the Black Panther Party in the future continue to merit the diatribes issuing from his foul mouth.
This is the daughter of Herbert Aptheker, self-admitted communist Bettina Aptheker. At the University of California at Berkeley in the fall of 1964, with Mario Savio, shown here, Bettina organized and was one of the leaders of the so-called free speech movement, the beginning of the disruption successes for the communists on American campuses. She is quoted as saying, she has it in mind to spearhead a student revolution which will hopefully lead to what she calls the erosion of the democratic form of government and eventual establishment of Kremlin-like leadership in the United States. She has herself boasted, and I quote, "We will, if necessary, take over the college campuses in this country if our demands are not met." The free speech movement leaders were flown to other major university campuses on a well-planned and well-financed speaking tour. Here, at their arrival in New York City, they were met by the press.
The tour was arranged, the speaking part of it at colleges, by Students for Democratic Society.
Do you see this as an issue that will be affecting other campuses, or is this a specific problem in your own school?
No, I think that this will, in the near future, begin affecting other campuses.
Gus Hall, leader of the Communist Party USA, emphatically declared, and I quote, "We've got the W.E.B. Du Bois clubs, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, and the SDS going for us." Today, he could include the Black Panther Party and a dozen or so others. On December 28, 1966, at the University of Chicago, this Student Peace Program Committee, made up of student and faculty leftists, met in answer to an appeal sent out by communist Bettina Aptheker for a nationwide student faculty strike. The House Committee on Un-American Activities reported, and I quote, "The proposal for the nationwide student strike was completely communist in origin. The aim of the dominant communist element in these movements is to undermine the United States, promote a communist takeover in Vietnam, and the general advance of world communism," unquote. The group with the largest representation at this conference was SDS. One of the principal speakers of the conference, the initiator of the idea for a nationwide student faculty strike, and the author of this book, Big Business and the American University, was Bettina Aptheker.
Are the communists running this conference?
There's a temporary steering committee which consists of 15 organizations plus 4 people from the preparations committee. The organizations include SDS, the National Student Association, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the Young Socialist Alliance, the Du Bois Club, the Chicago Peace Council, who are the hosts of this conference, and so forth.
What kind of decisions do you expect to see out of this conference?
Well, I don't want to preclude anything that the conference is going to decide. I don't want to make a statement that then sort of binds people to it. But I would say that the purpose of the conference is to discuss the possibilities of a nationally coordinated student mobilization in the spring against the war. And in particular on the issues of the draft, on the issue of university participation in the war effort, for example, war research, CIA research, and so forth that are done on campuses. And that's the purpose of the conference, and one would hope, although it's not certain, I mean, we're going to discuss it, some form and some kind of nationally coordinated protest.
You just heard communist Bettina Aptheker dictate the issues in 1966, which to this day are being used by the communists to rally off and on campus dissidents, militants, and dupes to accelerate their drive for the violent overthrow of our country.
We have a message from Eldridge Cleaver to all the people in the United Front Against Fascism, and the message is this: right on!
This is Eldridge Cleaver, convicted felon, a fugitive from the California penitentiary. He is one of the top leaders of the Black Panther Party, idol and hero of the revolutionary New Left. Here in the pages of the Black Panther Party newspaper, Eldridge Cleaver speaks out to his comrades in the U.S. a message from his hideout in communist Cuba at another time. He emphasizes the importance of destruction on the college campus. He writes, and I quote, "The most sensational and explosive clashes are being centered and focused more and more on the college campuses and on high school campuses. We must destroy their institutions from which they derive their power. We have to destroy the present structure of power in the United States. We have to overthrow the government, and the only means possible is violent overthrow." New interorganizational secretary of SDS, Jeff Jones, announces SDS politics.
It's the feeling of SDS, the fight that's being waged on the campuses, when it's waged solely on the campuses, is a fight that can end up only on the campuses. That's not where we're at all. That's not where we as an organization of young revolutionaries are trying to move the student movement, are trying to link it up with the working class movement as the primary key upon which we're trying to build our movement. Organizations like the Black Panther Party, or the other revolutionary, international proletarian revolutionary organizations in this country. We say people who have been oppressed and colonized by imperialism and fascism have the right to get into those institutions, and by doing that are going to change the class nature of those institutions and are eventually going to lead to shutting down those institutions until we've destroyed capitalism. I present to you tonight women combating fascism. Now, we didn't put them up here for nothing. Here they are, and I introduce you to Marie Walker Johnson.
Heretofore, women had been thought of as merely being content to remain in a prone position. Well, things ain't what they used to be. Sisters and brothers, the people who will be speaking on this panel has not been chosen because of their revolutionary rhetorics. They were chosen because of their correct practice. She's armed with correct theory and practice. None other than our own sister, Roberta Alexander.
Huey P. Newton says that we have to limit our bickering as much as possible between the movement and make our concentration upon the enemy. This is correct. Our sisters are struggling and participating in our political education classes. Our sisters are more and more taking a leadership role. We have sisters who can shoot. They can shoot as well as brothers. They're not sitting home with the babies. They're out there. They got their babies with them. They're out there in the community, out there doing field work. And it even goes down to the sexual levels. You know, whether or not the women are supposed to do so-and-so for the cause of the revolution, etc. And the sisters of the Black Panther Party, and I hope the sisters of the rest of the movement, of the rest of the United Front Against Fascism, follow the example of the Vietnamese women. All power to the people. Power to the people. Right on.
The revolutionaries cry, "All power to the people. The people want, the people will take." But the people they refer to are themselves, the conspiracy, the revolutionaries, the tiniest minority in our country.
Seated next to Sister Roberta is another beautiful sister. Her name, Sister Carol Henry.
The lines of demarcation have been clearly drawn between the pig oppressor and the people.
These are Negro children participating in the free breakfast program sponsored by the Black Panther Party. These are some of the pages from the notorious Black Panther coloring book, which was handed out to children attending a free breakfast program in a church in San Francisco. This coloring book was dramatically exposed by the U.S. Senate's McClellan Investigating Committee. The coloring book teaches young Negroes to hate and kill policemen and incites them toward violence and murder.
And as Comrade Mao Tse-tung says, fear no sacrifice. Surmount every difficulty and win to victory. I must remind you that there cannot be a successful struggle against fascism unless the broad masses of women are drawn into it. Down with the pig, fascist pig oppressor. Long live the people's liberation struggle. Long live Huey P. Newton and Eldridge Cleaver. All power to the people. Dare to struggle, dare to win. All power to the people. All power to the people. Right on.
The ideology, the Bible of the Black Panthers and most of the New Left revolutionaries is that prescribed in their ever-present little red book entitled Quotations from Chairman Mao Zedong.